After a lifetime of struggle, 22-year-old Jamie Fraley was on the brink of achieving all her life's goals.
She was thriving, and she just seemed like she was really going down a good path.
She was in love and she was very happy.
But then, Jamie misses an important appointment near her Gaston, North Carolina home and is never heard from again.
The day we went into Jamie's apartment and saw her pocketbook and keys, I knew something was wrong.
Did Jamie walk out on her new life?
There was no sign of forced entry or anything, leaving individuals to believe that wherever she had gone willingly.
Or was there a more sinister motive behind her disappearance?
His obsession with Jamie was more sexually in his mind.
Just when police think they're close to cracking the case, a gruesome discovery changes everything.
I did not see anything like this coming.
Gaston, North Carolina is a quiet community located in one of the greenest, resource-rich corners of the country. And for Gaston County native Jamie Fraley, 2008 is shaping up to be the best year of her life. Standing at only 4'9", Jamie seems poised to get everything she's ever wanted.
Jamie was a very small, petite girl, but her personality was like a piece of dynamite.
The diminutive 22-year-old is living on her own and studying to pursue a career she is passionate about.
Jamie wanted to help people that were on drugs, and she thought that she could save the world.
Even better, Jamie has met the boy of her dreams, Ricky Simons Jr.
Jamie loved Ricky so much. Jamie was just Ricky Dale crazy. I mean, she was just head over heels in love with him.
She even refers to herself as Mrs. Simons on her MySpace page.
She was in love and she was very happy. She never let me even think that something was wrong in her life. You know, I just would have never thought that.
But life hadn't always been so happy for Jamie.
Jamie had health issues from the time that she was born. I had a really hard time bringing her into the world, and we both almost died.
Jamie was actually clinically dead when she was born. They had to do CPR on her. Then they said Jamie wouldn't live, and then she made it a year. Then they said she wouldn't make it to 3, and she just beat the odds. She was a miracle.
As she got older, Jamie continued to surpass the doctor's expectations. But she still struggled with health and developmental issues associated with her difficult birth.
She couldn't gain weight for a long time.
She was frail and dependent.
Then, when she turned 18, Jamie was diagnosed as bipolar.
She really didn't take it seriously. She wasn't taking her medicine. She took it at first, and then she told me that it made her feel funny, and she wasn't taking it anymore.
Bipolar disorder, along with her other health issues, made it difficult for Jamie to pass her driver's license test. And so she felt she had no choice but to live at home with her mother.
Jamie depended on me for everything because, you know, she had had so many issues in her life.
But as she got older, Jamie longed for independence. And when she turns 21, she sets out to get it.
When she got older and she was on Social Security supplementary income, Jamie was assigned a provider to help her with her bills, show her how to keep her bank account, take her to where she needed to go, to her doctor's appointments.
And it was hard for us, the whole family, to let her go and try to make it on her own.
Having never finished high school, Jamie enrolls in nearby Gaston College to study for her GED and start planning her future.
She had really came a long way. She was thriving, and she just seemed like she was really going down a good path.
She was doing great. She was just doing her everyday life. She was involved in church real heavy.
It's while attending church that Jamie discovers what she wants to do with her life.
There was a program there on Friday nights for addiction. Jamie had a friend that had gotten bad into drugs. It was someone that we knew since Jamie was a little girl. Jamie got close to her because she wanted to help her to get off drugs. And that's where that started. And then she started going to the church, getting an idea of how AA works.
By 2007, everything in Jamie's life seems to be on track. And just when it looks like things can't get any better, she meets Ricky Dale Simons Jr.
She had got in an altercation with someone, and Ricky Jr. came to her defense.
And then he stepped in and saved her, you know, so that to her, well, he's my hero.
The son of her apartment building's maintenance man, Ricky Jr. seems just as crazy about Jamie as she is about him.
Jamie called me and told me she had a new boyfriend, and, you know, that they were planning on getting married.
Jamie sounded very happy at the time when she told me about her getting married. I was happy for her.
Jamie was just ecstatic over Ricky. I've not ever heard her speak of anyone else in that way.
But in early January 2007, Ricky is convicted of felony larceny. Because of a lengthy record of previous larceny charges, Ricky is sent away to prison for 15 months.
She'd said that he was in jail, and it really bothered me and disturbed me. And I asked her, I said, Jamie, you know, you really want to think about this? You know, you don't want to jump into this.
Ricky Jr. does have drug issues. If you go back and look at Ricky Jr. criminal record, possession of stolen goods, larceny, things like that, could use to buy the drugs with, that's their problem.
Despite her family's reservations, Jamie is resolute in her love for Ricky.
Nothing you could say or do to stop her. Don't say anything bad about him.
She wrote him every day for 15 months straight, every single day. And every time I visit her, you know, she'll be writing, and she have thousands and thousands of pieces of paper, you know, scattered everywhere, because she wanted to be perfect, to send Ricky in jail.
Jamie spends most of the time waiting for Ricky Jr.'s return with his father, Rick Sr., and his girlfriend, Kim Sprenger.
When they were living all at the apartment complex, they were very close. They hung out a lot together. Jamie went over to the apartment a lot, and they would cook together.
Jamie mentioned that he would just take her places. It was Ricky Jr.'s father, and it was one day going to be her father-in-law. He looked after Jamie somewhat. He would run her to the store. Jamie did not have a driver's license. He would be there for her as she called him.
She came dependent on Rick when Rick Jr. was locked up. She came very dependent on him.
On the morning of April 8th, 2008, Jamie wakes up with a terrible stomachache. As the morning progresses, the pain in her stomach intensifies, and she calls her provider to drive her to the ER. At the hospital, she is diagnosed with the flu and sent home.
Jamie called me on April the 8th. I was at my sister's house. I talked to her. She said she wasn't feeling well, that they had gave her some medication at the hospital. Jamie sounded like she was kind of frustrated. She thought the hospital had gave her the wrong diagnosis.
Jamie spends the rest of the day in bed, but her stomachache only gets worse. Despite feeling so sick, Jamie still fulfills her commitment to take care of Kim Sprenger's dog. Kim has recently split up with Rick Sr.
Kim would bring her dog over for Jamie to babysit.
When Kim arrives in the early afternoon to pick up the dog, she finds Jamie sick in bed. After taking some time to make her more comfortable, she offers to drop off Jamie's prescription at the drugstore. Jamie never picks up the medication. And by the time night falls, Jamie is so sick, she decides she needs to go back to the hospital.
She had Rick to take her back to the hospital, and Jamie was impatient, and there was like a 3 or 4 hour wait, and so she decided she wasn't going to wait.
But when she calls Rick Sr. to pick her up, he does not answer his cell phone, so Jamie has to get another friend to bring her home.
I called her. I'm wanting to say it was close to midnight. She said that she had been throwing up, and she told me that, you know, she kind of had the chills.
Jamie's mother offers to pick her up and bring her to her house an hour away. But Jamie is determined to keep an appointment she had the following morning, close to her apartment.
She said, no, I don't want to come spend the night over there because I have an appointment in the morning with the Social Security office that I can't miss. And, you know, we're like, well, call us, you know, if you need us. And, I love you. Bye. No. The last time I spoke to her.
After hanging up with her mother, Jamie continues to call friends and write emails, including a quick note to her friend Linda's son.
He was at Iraq at the time, and he just described to me that, you know, she wanted to know how he was doing. There was nothing in that email that would give him a hint that anything was wrong at all.
This is the last email Jamie sends before she disappears. Coming up, an ominous call from Jamie's provider sends her family into a panic.
Her provider calls me and says, I can't even get her to the door and I can't get her on the phone.
After a childhood fraught with health issues, 22-year-old Jamie Fraley seemed to be on her way to having it all: love, independence, and a career she was passionate about. But on April 8th, 2008, she comes down with a horrible stomachache that sends her to the hospital twice.
Jamie was sick, but I believe she thought she would be better in the morning, and she wanted to make sure she made that appointment.
The appointment at the Social Security office represented another milestone in Jamie's progress.
Jamie's appointment for the Social Security was to see if money could be turned over to her, seeing that she was trying the independent living and that she could handle her own money.
When Jamie's family doesn't hear from her the morning of her appointment, they assume she's feeling better.
The next morning, I'm thinking Jamie's at the Social Security office.
We did not call Jamie the next day. It wasn't unusual to go a little while without talking to her.
On the morning of April 10th, Jamie's mother receives a troubling call.
Her provider, who was supposed to pick her up for her appointment, calls me and says, I went to pick Jamie up for her appointment yesterday, and I can't even get her to the door, and I can't get her on the phone. She waited a whole day to tell me this.
According to the provider, she had knocked repeatedly on Jamie's door, and after failing to get a response, eventually left.
She's like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, we're gonna call the police. Because she had been sick, you know, we're thinking, you know, she can't get up or be hurt. You know, she is bipolar. She's been sick.
The police send an officer to Jamie's apartment to do a welfare check and make sure Jamie isn't hurt.
We were contacted by Jamie's mother, Kim Fraley, advised that she hadn't spoken to Jamie possibly 2 days. Patrol units went out to her residence and checked her apartment. Did not see anything that seemed out of the ordinary.
Police make note of her bipolar disorder, but surmise that Jamie just stepped out for a bit and will show up later.
There was no sign of forced entry or anything, leaving individuals to believe that wherever she had gone willingly, and there was no signs of a struggle or anything that would indicate otherwise.
But despite the officer's claims that nothing looks amiss, Jamie's mother, aunt, and cousin decide to head to the apartment and look around for themselves.
We went to the apartment. The apartment was locked. but her house keys and purse were still sitting in the apartment. She had a habit of going outside, sticking her cell phone in her back pocket, if it was just to go over to the neighbors, something like that, you know, if she was just going somewhere shortly, you know, but it was unusual.
Next, the women make their way to the bedroom.
You knew that she had been sick on her stomach. It was everywhere.
After seeing just how sick Jamie was that night, her mother is even more alarmed by Jamie's absence.
I don't see Jamie walking in the middle of the night by herself, sick and throwing up. No, I don't see it.
And there are a few other subtle clues in the apartment that reinforce her mother's feeling that something isn't right.
At the top of her stairs, there was no shoelaces in the shoes. And that just, it seemed really, really weird. That was the shoes Jamie always wears, besides her flip-flops. Never known her to not wear laces in her shoes.
The women immediately call the police back.
We were contacted again by Jamie's family at that time. Patrol units went back out to the residence, checked her apartment again with her aunt. It didn't suggest that anything of foul play or foul nature took place.
They told us that she was an adult, she could go missing if she wanted to, and that she would probably return home.
While the police are searching the apartment, the women wait in the parking lot and continue to call Jamie's cell phone.
We tried to call her, but I didn't get an answer.
But finally, someone picks up. Unfortunately, the voice on the other end isn't Jamie's.
And a man answered it, and we're like, who are you, and why do you have her phone?
Coming up, investigators discover Jamie was keeping a secret.
What really got me was that Jamie knew and did not tell us.
Jamie Fraley hasn't been seen or heard from in 2 days. While the petite 22-year-old's apartment doesn't display any overt signs of foul play, her family is sure that something has happened to Jamie.
The day we went into Jamie's apartment and saw her pocketbook and keys, I knew something was wrong.
Her family has repeatedly tried to call her cell phone, with no luck. But on April 10th, 2008, someone finally picks up.
We kept calling her phone, and a man answered it. It's like, well, I'm the cable man. I was over here working on the cable lines, and I heard his phone ringing down on the ground, and I just picked it up. When I heard that, it's like you automatically know something's not right, you know, and I just fell down into the parking lot and started screaming.
An officer is immediately sent out to recover the phone.
The phone was found in the roadway, the north-south lane off of South New Hope. It was found in the middle of the roadway, scuffed up.
By all accounts, Jamie was never without her cell phone.
First thing I thought when her phone was found on the side of the road, it's like, that ain't Jamie. At one time, she did have 2 house phones and 2 cell phones, just so little Rick can call her from prison. That ain't like Jamie.
Speaking with family and friends, Jamie always had her cell phone with her, so it led us to believe that either she lost the phone, tossed the phone, or someone might have tossed the phone that was not Jamie.
3 days after Jamie is last seen, police conduct a full-scale search of the wooded area where Jamie's phone was found.
The area around the phone was searched multiple times. Canines have been used. Areas around the apartment complex have been searched, as well as bodies of water.
There was no trace of Jamie anywhere besides just her phone.
Officers also questioned neighbors to see if they had noticed anything wrong in the days leading up to her disappearance.
They gave me a general overview of Jamie, that she's a nice person, lived alone, that she didn't drive, that she required a ride when she went to go to places. We actually spoke to a neighbor who advised that they saw her walk into her residence around midnight, and that was the last person we have found to say that they saw Jamie alive. There's nothing that we've collected from friends, family, and neighbors that would suggest that anything else was wrong that night.
One thing everyone comments on is that Rick Simon Sr. and Jamie spent a lot of time together.
Well, according to the investigation, they were quite friendly. They lived 2 doors down from each other. She was dating Mr. Simon Sr.'s son, who was incarcerated at the time, and so the family connection was fairly obvious.
People said that Rick Simon Sr. helped Jamie a good bit with rides and things of that nature.
Investigators immediately asked Rick Sr. to come to the station for an interview.
In my conversation with Rick Sr., found him to be very cold, manipulative, didn't give much information, but he was cooperative in talking with us.
When he does a routine background check, Detective Bloom discovers that Rick Sr. has a violent criminal past.
Rick Sr. was an individual that's gotten in some trouble with the law through drug use, petty crimes. He was also charged with murder of a girlfriend years previous.
After serving just 6 years on a manslaughter conviction for strangling his ex-girlfriend to death, Rick Sr. had been released from prison for good behavior. But even after he gets out, he continues to be a regular presence at the police station.
Ricky Simon Sr. did have a long history of drug use and crimes such as larceny, burglaries, petty theft, that sort of thing. Drugs did have a large impact on his life, so he sought them out on a regular basis, and in order to support that type of activity, he had to be involved in some criminal activity.
I was surprised when I found out about Ricky Sr.'s background. I just wasn't aware of his drug use or his criminal background at all.
While her family may have been surprised, it appears that Jamie knew about Rick Sr.'s past.
About 8 or 9 months before Jamie disappeared is when I found out about Rick Sr. killing someone, about his past. And I didn't know whether to believe her or I just didn't know what to say to her. She seemed like she didn't want to believe it. Like she didn't believe it herself. She still put all this trust in the Big Rick and, you know, depended on him so much.
And I know why Jamie didn't tell us, because that was Ricky Jr.'s father. Jamie gave everybody the benefit of the doubt. You know, everybody can change. You know, that was her way of thinking.
And Rick Sr.'s past wasn't the only thing Jamie was keeping from her family. She was also not telling them everything about his present situation.
I say it was months before Jamie disappeared. Kim and Rick's relationship started falling apart.
She had moved out. They had a volatile relationship.
And according to reports, the breakdown of Rick Sr. and Kim Sprenger's relationship may have had a lot to do with Jamie.
She would come home from work, and Jamie would be in the house alone with Rick Sr.
Coming up, was Rick Sr. getting too close to his son's girlfriend?
His obsession with Jamie, it didn't seem fatherly. It was more sexually, in his mind.
22-year-old Jamie Fraley hasn't been seen or heard from in days.
We've determined that no financial activity has occurred since Jamie went missing on any of her credit and her financial resources. It does raise the level of concern in an investigation such as this as to Jamie's status.
Detectives scramble to find a reason for the frail young woman's disappearance. Interviews with neighbors at Jamie's apartment complex point detectives in an unexpected direction.
During the course of the investigation, collected statements that Rick Simon Sr. said things about Jamie and to Jamie and that were more of a sexual nature that showed that he had an interest in her.
It seems Jamie Fraley may have played a central role in the demise of her future father-in-law's relationship with his girlfriend, Kim Sprenger.
When I was around Jamie and Rick Sr. both, I could tell like he was obsessed with Jamie. Rick Sr. is paying more attention to his daughter-in-law than he is his girlfriend.
Ms. Sprenger did explain to us that that was an issue during her relationship with Simon Sr. And she explained that to Rick. Ms. Sprenger said that that was a problem.
Rick Sr. had met Kim Sprenger when her husband, a wealthy architect, had hired him to do some maintenance work for their home design business. Their connection intensified, and 2 years later, Kim walked out on her husband and 3 children to move in with Rick in the apartment next door to Jamie's.
He was an intelligent man. As far as animal magnetism that women felt towards him, and speaking with people who had, females that had dealings with him, it was something that was unexplainable. But he did have that ability and that control over women.
And there is a darker bond tying Kim Sprenger to Rick Sr.
Both Rick Sr. and Kim Sprenger were addicts.
Jamie tries to help Rick Sr. and Kim overcome their addiction.
Should tell them that you're hurting yourself. How can you do this to yourself? You're putting yourself down. You're hurting your body. They were ignored all the time.
But Jamie doesn't give up trying to rehab the couple and is a regular presence at Rick Sr. and Kim's house. According to investigators, after his son is sent to prison, Rick Sr. begins to act inappropriately toward Jamie.
Rick Sr., you know, he would just make these jokes around me and Jamie that it would give me this weird vibe off of him. Just like really perverted jokes. He would comment on, you know, what she was wearing, how short her shorts were, how low her top was. But he would comment it as if he liked it, you know. I'm pretty sure that he probably made moves on Jamie when Junior left.
He commented on some comments that he might have made that may have been uncomfortable. His relationship with his son wasn't the best relationship in the world. They did not see eye to eye on many occasions.
Then, in late 2007, 6 months before Jamie disappears, Kim decides to end the relationship.
Rumors and allegations did play some role, but I believe it was the drug use also that played a major role in their separation. Kim told the police that she was trying to recover from her addiction, and Rick Sr. was not at that point in his life where he wanted to stop doing drugs.
According to family members, once Kim Sprenger moves out, Rick Sr. pays Jamie more attention than ever.
Jamie, you know, just laugh at his jokes, put it off like it didn't bother her. But if you looked into her eyes, you know, you can tell. I think she felt like I can handle him, you know.
3 days after Jamie disappears, as detectives discover the complexity of her relationship with Rick Sr., the results of her cell phone analysis return. Jamie's cell phone was handled by too many people to lift any viable prints, but phone records showed that the last time anyone spoke to Jamie was around midnight on April 8th.
During one of her last phone calls, she spoke to a friend in Albemarle. That friend in Albemarle said that Jamie was being picked up by someone in a truck, and from there, that was the last conversation that we know of.
Rick Sr. had already confirmed that he had taken Jamie to the hospital once that day. Police wonder, could he have been the ride Jamie spoke of?
Rick Sr. actually drove a white paneled van that can be referred to as a truck.
Police speculate that if Rick Sr. gave Jamie a ride that night, then he would have been the last person to see her before she disappeared. Then, detectives get a call about a strange roadside discovery close to Jamie's apartment complex.
During the investigation, we had a phone call about a bag of trash that was located approximately 2.5 miles from Jamie Fraley's apartment complex. Patrol officers responded to that scene during the investigation, identified that trash bag as belonging to Ricky Simons Sr.
Mr. Simons advised that he had a flat tire, and he removed the trash in order to get to a spare. I definitely thought it was odd.
The bag is located 1.5 miles from where Jamie's cell phone was discarded.
If you connected the cell phone, the bag of trash, and the apartment complex, you would have a perfect triangle almost. It indicates the mode of travel or path of travel that Mr. Simons Sr. may have been taking.
Detectives aren't quite sure what to make of the trash bag. But as they gather more information, it seems increasingly clear to investigators that Rick Sr. had something to do with Jamie's disappearance.
Mr. Simons Sr. was probably the strongest person of interest at this point of the investigation.
When the police said Rick was the main person of interest in the case, I was confused about it because I didn't want to believe that, because I knew that they were supposedly friends. I mean, he spends so much time with her, you know, and they're close, and why would he want to hurt her? I could not fathom a reason of why he would want to hurt her.
When Rick Jr. gets out of prison 3 weeks after Jamie goes missing, he is devastated.
Ricky Jr. responded to Jamie's disappearance hard. He had no family member to go pick him up. So me and my sister and my brother-in-law went and picked him up and took him in. He was out daily looking for Jamie. I believe Ricky Jr. was serious about marrying Jamie.
He is furious to learn his father is the main person of interest in the disappearance of the girl he loves.
When Ricky Jr. found out that his father was the main person of interest, he was extremely angry at his father. He cooperated with the police and whatever they needed to know about his father. After Jamie went missing, he argued with his father constantly. Rick Sr. and Ricky Jr.'s relationship was bad.
While Rick Sr. is cooperative and comes in for an official interview, detectives are not convinced he's telling them everything. They have probable cause to obtain a warrant that allows them to track Rick Sr.'s movements.
A search warrant was issued and granted for Ricky Dale Sr.'s vehicle to be tracked. It was tracked for, I believe, about a month. From there, we went back and checked the locations where Mr. Simons visited and searched those areas.
Detectives hope that if they follow Rick Sr., he will somehow lead them to Jamie. Instead, they find what they think is a disturbing pattern to his movements.
During the time that we were tracking Rick Sr.'s vehicle, he was in areas near Kim Springer's residence. It appeared that he was following Miss Springer, stalking her, if you will.
Police immediately notify Kim Springer that her ex-boyfriend Rick Sr. is stalking her.
She was advised to take out a restraining order against him.
He was known to have broken into her vehicle.
The day after the police warn her that Rick Sr. is watching her, Kim Springer files a restraining order.
First thing I thought, I was like, you know, he probably did have something to do with this, and Kim knows something. And he's probably gonna kill her. That's what came to my mind.
Coming up, a horrifying discovery turns the investigation on its head.
I did not see anything like this coming.
"22-year-old North Carolina native Jamie Fraley has been missing for nearly 2 months. Investigators think Ricky Dale Simons Sr., the father of Jamie's boyfriend, may have had something to do with her disappearance and have him under surveillance.
We were able to identify Ricky Simons Sr.'s travels, and through identifying those areas of travel and methods of travel and where he frequented, lead us to areas of interest when it comes to Jamie's disappearance.
But police are alarmed when they discover what they believe to be an ominous pattern to the places he frequents.
Ricky Simon Sr. had been stalking Kim Springer.
They warn Kim Springer, who obtains a restraining order against Rick Sr. A month after taking out the restraining order, Kim is running errands when she notices a strange smell wafting through the car.
Miss Springer did notice something unusual, a smell in her vehicle, but wasn't able to pinpoint what that was.
Throughout the weekend, Kim is bothered by the smell. But it isn't until Sunday afternoon that she thinks to look in the trunk. She screams in horror when she realizes the source of the smell. It's Rick Sr.'s decomposing body.
We were advised that Mr. Simons was found in the trunk area of Miss Springer's vehicle.
When I found out about Rick Sr.'s death, I just went into total shock. I couldn't, I just started squalling. I was devastated. I wasn't devastated because of what happened to him. I was devastated because if he had any answers, I knew right then we would never know.
Police speculate that Rick Sr., Kim's ex-boyfriend, had been dead in the trunk for nearly 2 days before he was discovered.
Ricky Simon Sr. was determined to have died by hyperthermia, basically heat exhaustion or overheated in the trunk of the car.
He was intoxicated, also had drugs in his system.
Underneath the body, police make another disturbing find.
Personal belongings of Miss Springer's that had been taken previously from her vehicle were found in his possession, as well as a weapon. A knife was found inside the vehicle with Mr. Simon Sr.
Investigators wonder if Rick Sr. planned to attack Kim Springer, but got disoriented and accidentally locked himself in the trunk due to the combination of drugs in his system and the extreme heat of the day.
Prior to Mr. Simon's death, he made comments to friends that he was going to give Kim Springer the surprise of her life.
We would theorize or speculate that Ricky Simon Sr. was there to cause Miss Springer harm.
The death of Rick Simon Sr. is a major setback to the investigation into what happened to Jamie.
I talked to Rick Sr. on the phone a couple of times, and the only thing that stuck out to me, and it's still to this day, it sticks with me, is a conversation that we had, and he said he had been doing some searching himself, and he said, well, you know, he said, maybe somebody's got her and just doesn't want to give her back. That has haunted me ever since.
Mr. Simon Sr.'s death closes out a source of information, and quite possibly a source who may have had the last contact with Jamie. And so his death does have a large impact on this investigation.
But tips from other sources keep coming in, and detectives are optimistic that one day they will find out what happened to Jamie.
We have searched with K9, with other investigative ground-penetrating devices, wooded areas around the property, across from the property, as well as miles away from the property. I think total we've searched probably 15, 16 square miles, if not more, in several different areas throughout the county. But we'll keep moving forward and work towards solving it and bring closure to it.
A copy of Jamie Fraley's active case file resides on my desk and stays on my desk, and so that I can see it daily. I do think we will find Jamie Fraley at some point.
It's difficult to gauge Rick Jr.'s reaction to his father's passing.
I don't believe that Ricky Jr. had a father-son relationship. His father was not around and did not really play a role in his growth.
So I did let him stay with us for a while. And he did good for a while. He went and got back on drugs and back down the same path.
For Jamie's mother, every day is a struggle.
Some people say, don't question God, but, you know, I had a hard time bringing her into the world, you know. Why would you take her from me? And I was supposed to be there to protect her. And I haven't got past that. It makes you feel like a bad mother. Wondering, well, when you go to eat, and you think, well, I can't. Because what if she's not getting to eat? Or you go to sleep. Tell me I can't. What if she's not getting to sleep? Why should I have the right to eat or sleep?
Her family is committed to finding Jamie and bringing her home at any cost.
At this point in time, I mean, I just want Jamie to come home. I hope that she's still alive. The odds are against us right now, but we can't give up hope. I'll never give up on Jamie. Never.
Just when I close my eyes, I can remember her laugh, her smile, the light in her eyes. She's my angel.
When 27-year-old Terrence Williams goes missing after a night of partying, his family fears for his safety.
Terrence didn't go a day without calling me.
But events soon to be uncovered will spin a simple case of a missing man into a complex and controversial investigation.
You're a seasoned veteran. You're seasoned. How can you forget something that happened 4 days ago?
It was just chilling to have these little pieces that sounded so similar.
Something of this magnitude wouldn't go unnoticed.
And a sheriff's office is confronted with the unthinkable.
It doesn't matter how we look. There's a case to be solved here.
On a mild January night in 2004 on Florida's Gulf Coast, Marcia Williams drops off her 27-year-old son, Terrence, at his home in Naples after a long day of work. As she watches her only son step out of the car, she marvels at how far Terrence has come in the 2 years since he moved to Florida.
When he first moved to Naples, he would worry if he couldn't find a job. But I was always his coach, you know, his cheerleader. Just hang in there. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be okay.
Terrence's mother has always done her best to support her son, and she is the reason he moved to Florida in the first place, leaving behind 3 of his 4 children in Tennessee.
I was married and moved to Naples with my husband. A couple of months later, Terrence moved to Naples. Well, you know, he had to be with his mother.
Having difficulty meeting the child support needs for his 4 kids, Terrence hopes the move will give him more financial opportunities. With the housing boom in Southwest Florida in full swing, jobs were plentiful.
He found a job in construction, and later on he decided to work a little bit harder, so he found a second job at Pizza Hut in Bonita Springs, Florida, which is just a very short ride from Naples, Florida.
After losing his driver's license in Tennessee while driving under the influence, Terrence has been dependent on his mother and his roommate Jason to get him places. His new job at Pizza Hut is a 13-mile trip from home, straight through the new, sprawling suburb of affluent North Naples. In December of 2003, yearning for more independence, Terrence shops around for a car.
He has this thing for Cadillacs, so he went and he bought a Cadillac.
After 2 years living in Naples without incident, Terrence is itching to gain back his freedom, but he will have to wait 6 months until June before he can get his license back. After only a few weeks on the job at Pizza Hut, Terrence seems to be getting along well with his new coworkers. He has been invited to a work party later that night in Bonita Springs, but first, Terrence needs to go back to Naples to change clothes.
I picked him up from work, took him back to his house. The last thing he said to me was, "Bye, Mama. I'll see you later."
Once inside his house, Terrence tries to convince his roommate to accompany him to the party.
He egged me on just a little bit, trying to say, "Oh, come on, you can come with me, this, and that." And I just had to say, no, no, no.
Without a ride, Terrence decides to take a risk by driving himself to Bonita Springs in his unregistered Cadillac.
He says, "All right, see you later."
A short time later, Jason receives a worrisome call from Terrence, who has pulled over at a shopping center to use a payphone.
He says, "Oh man, all I see is a bunch of cops around."
Although Terrence usually maintains composure, his roommate senses fear in his friend's voice. Maybe Terrence regrets taking out the car.
He goes, "I'm just talking to you right now just so that I can see what's going on and, maybe wait him out." After a few minutes, he says, "Okay, I'm gonna go." I said, "All right, have a good night." And that was it.
I've always taught Terrence, wherever you are, you call somebody and you let them know what's going on.
A few minutes after hanging up with Terrence, Jason places his phone next to the TV and heads off to bed. The next morning when Jason wakes up, he finds his roommate has not come home. At first, Jason isn't worried.
He has this rule that if he's gone for a couple days, don't worry about it, because he might be staying at someone's house.
That Monday morning, Jason checks his voicemail to see if Terrence has called.
I had a couple missed calls from a number I didn't recognize at 4 in the morning. So I called those numbers back.
The woman who answers says she is one of Terrence's coworkers from Pizza Hut. She distinctly remembers seeing him leave the party alone sometime between 5 and 6 a.m. Maybe Terrence had called Jason wanting a ride home.
I wish that I left my cell phone on my nightstand like I always did. That night, I just so happened to forget it on the entertainment center.
Meanwhile, on the north side of town, Terrence's mother is just waking up. For no particular reason, she has a gut feeling that something terrible has happened to her only son.
I was so nervous. I got up and I had Terrence in my mind. And I just walked through the house and I just prayed.
Despite her uneasiness, Terrence's mother continues her day as planned.
I got myself together. I went to work.
The following day, Marcia still has not heard from her son.
Tuesday, his roommate sent me an email. He said, "Have you heard from Terrence?" And I said, "No."
To Marcia, it is a sign that something is gravely wrong.
Terrence didn't go a day without calling me. We were just too close.
Coming up, the disturbing disconnect between witness testimony and what a responding officer recalls.
You're a seasoned veteran. How can you forget something that happened 4 days ago?
27-year-old Terrence Williams has just started a new job at a Pizza Hut in Bonita Springs, Florida. On Sunday, January 11th, the Naples resident takes his newly bought vintage Cadillac to an after-work employee party, even though he does not have a license to drive. The next morning, Terrence isn't home, and nobody knows where he is.
His roommate tried to call everybody that he knew trying to find him. The next day came, and we went through the same thing again.
I started calling the hospitals. No one who fit his description showed up. So then I started calling the jails, thinking that he might have gotten picked up for driving that thing without a license, and no one picked him up. I started to worry a little bit more, because now he's nowhere to be found.
Wednesday came, I couldn't stay at work. I had to do something. I had to find my child.
Marcia goes to the Pizza Hut where Terrence works, and they confirm her fears. He has missed work for the last 3 days and has failed to pick up his last 2 paychecks. She then drives to the Collier County Sheriff's Office, intending to file a missing persons report.
We went to a substation, and I told them I can't find my son. Well, I was told, you know, he's grown. If you haven't heard from him in a month, you come back.
Although Marcia has no proof that Terrence is in danger, she knows her son would never drop out of sight without letting someone know.
We had not had any arguments, no disagreements, nothing. It's like, okay, I'll see you later, Mama. That's the last time that I spoke with him. That night when I dropped him off.
Marcia reaches out to her family in Tennessee for help.
One of my sisters said, give me all of the numbers to the hospitals, the morgues, anything you can think of. And they made calls from Chattanooga.
The Williams family started contacting our dispatcher's office around January 15th of 2004.
Because of the sheer volume of calls coming into the Collier County Sheriff's Office from the family, police begin to take Terrence's case more seriously. A deputy is dispatched to his mother's house to take a report.
When I was first questioned face to face, I said, he's not coming back. They said, well, how do you know? I said, a mother knows.
Then, 24 hours later, Terrence's aunt in Tennessee uncovers a lead that could bring them one step closer to finding Terrence.
She said, we found the car. She told me that the car was towed from his cemetery. I'm going like, oh my God, he could be in the trunk of the car. Everything just goes through your mind, everything.
Marcia wastes no time, heading over to the towing company's lot.
I ID'd the car right away. His 2 jackets were in there, empty carton of Newport cigarettes, which is what he smoked, and I said, that's the car.
The manager tells Marcia that the car was towed from Naples Memorial Cemetery on the 12th of January because it was obstructing traffic. According to the report, the tow was requested by a deputy from the Collier County Sheriff's Office.
From that point, we were just continuously calling the sheriff's department, just trying to get somebody to help.
But the sheriff's office is unable to provide them with any more information, since there has been no arrest or incident report filed. The next step is to see if there were witnesses at the cemetery.
I called the cemetery, and I spoke with whoever was there that morning, and they told me that they witnessed Terrence being pulled over.
Finally, there is a break. Terrence's family now has a new last known location, and they know who had the Cadillac towed. He is a 17-year patrol veteran named Deputy Steve Calkins. But what they are told next only heightens the mystery surrounding the young man's disappearance.
The witnesses see the Calkins pull into the parking lot following Terrence Williams' Cadillac. They all remember he had his emergency lights activated, and nobody remembered hearing the siren on.
The funeral home employees say the deputy asked the young man for identification, which he did not have.
They saw an interaction between the two, and some of the witnesses believe they saw Calkins pat Terrence down and place him in the back of the car. But nobody had noted any sort of like a confrontational type interaction between the two. It seemed very cordial.
The witnesses were asked, by the deputy, can I leave his car here? I'll be back to have it towed. And they said yes.
According to witness accounts, the deputy returns alone somewhere between 15 minutes to an hour later. He then gets into Terrence's car and moves it from the parking spot in front of the funeral home to the side of the road.
The car was pulled up to obstruct traffic, and the keys were found on the ground outside of the car. That's my understanding.
The more Terrence's family hears, the less the scenario makes sense. Now, knowing Terrence was taken away by an officer and that he was driving on expired tags without a license, insurance, or registration, they question why the deputy did not arrest him.
And all I wanted to do was talk to him. I wanted him to give me any other information that he could give me.
The Williams family repeatedly calls the police communication center, hoping for answers. Since no one in the dispatch can find any information on Terrence, a supervisor eventually calls Deputy Calkins directly to get to the bottom of the mystery.
Yeah. I hate to bother you home on your day off, but this woman's been bothering us all day. You towed a car from Vanderbilt to 111th Monday, a Cadillac. Do you remember it? No. Do you remember? She said it was near the cemetery. I mean, the people at the cemetery are telling her you put somebody in the back of your vehicle and arrested them, and I don't show you arresting anybody.
I never arrested nobody.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I gotta think about this one for a while.
But you're sure no one was with that vehicle? No. It was around 12:30 in the afternoon?
Jesus, I can't remember.
You don't remember? You're going to be my age, huh?
He had no memory of this contact.
But Terrence's mother finds this hard to believe after hearing the witness's testimony at the cemetery and seeing the deputy's signature on the tow record.
You're a seasoned veteran. You're seasoned. How can you forget something that happened 4 days ago?
After more pressure from Terrence's parents, a second call is made later that day from the sheriff's office to the deputy. This time, his memory returns.
And at that point, he does say, oh yeah, that he remembers making contact with Terrence.
Coming up, a coincidence in the extreme is revealed when details in a deputy's incident report mirror the case of another missing man.
Something of this magnitude wouldn't go unnoticed.
4 days after Terrence Williams is last seen leaving a party, his family finds out that his car was towed hours later from a North Naples cemetery. Witnesses at the cemetery remember seeing a white Cadillac getting pulled over by a patrol deputy, and a young man fitting Terrence's description being ushered into the back of the police car. 7 days later, Corporal Steve Calkins is asked to submit an incident report.
On the 19th, the investigators make contact with Calkins, and he tells the first group of investigators that he runs into Terrence coming down Vanderbilt Beach Drive Road, where he says that he could see the car was obviously having problems.
Hearing this testimony puzzles Terrence's mother.
The deputy stated that the car was in distress. The car was just taken out of the shop. And when I was finally able to get the car, I drove the car 25 miles. No problem.
But other than a slight time discrepancy, the witness accounts mirror Calkins' report.
His side of the story was that Terrence was kind of pleading for a ride to work. Would you please give him a ride up the block to the Circle K? At first, Calkins says, no, I'll get you a cab. But eventually, he says he seems like a nice guy, he's persistent, and he does decide to give him a ride up to the Circle K.
Because Terrence has a tainted history with the law from his early adulthood in Chattanooga, his mother finds Calkins' account hard to believe.
Terrence wouldn't ask a cop to take him to work. He would have called me first, or Jay.
She also does not understand why Terrence would have lied about working at the Circle K.
His side of the story is that when he puts him out at the Circle K, he tells Terrence to get his ID in order and make sure that the paperwork is in order for the car.
According to Calkins, Terrence told him the registration papers were in the glove box. So the deputy decides to go back to the cemetery alone to further investigate the car.
He doesn't find any of this paperwork that he claims that Terrence told him was in there.
Feeling deceived by the man Calkins said he knows only as Terrence, the deputy says he phoned the Circle K to track him down. He says he was told that no one by that name worked there. The deputy then called in the license plate number to dispatch. He found Terrence was driving on an expired tag. Now, with a new piece of the puzzle in the search for Terrence, family and investigators spring into action. The first stop is the Circle K. They are hoping the missing man has been caught on surveillance camera and ask the manager to screen video from January the 12th.
Terrence's stepfather viewed that tape by himself before law enforcement did, and he didn't see him there.
There's nowhere on camera that Terrence was dropped off in the deputy's car.
Employees who worked that day are also questioned.
Nobody at the Circle K ever saw Terrence get out of the vehicle. A very busy Circle K, especially at noontime.
But investigators know the constant flow of traffic would make it less likely for someone to remember seeing the alleged drop-off.
So we have no independent witnesses.
Meanwhile, the Williams family are desperate to know more, and they are not satisfied with the way Deputy Calkins has conducted himself.
So I became more suspicious when it didn't seem as if he was helping at all. So I said, enough of this. I filed a complaint.
Internal Affairs immediately opens a case on Deputy Calkins to see if he has violated any policies in his handling of the traffic stop. As both the criminal investigation into the disappearance of Terrence Williams and the Internal Affairs probe into Calkins' conduct heats up, detectives find themselves in an awkward position.
Early on, when the people running this investigation realized that we were looking at one of our own, I think wisely at that point, they chose to invite outside agencies to come in.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement, along with the FBI, are asked to conduct their own investigation to avoid any accusations of a cover-up.
In this particular case, you've got a law enforcement officer as their person of interest. It's always important to have a third party look at it so there isn't any appearance of any impropriety.
But there is more. The case has the sheriff's office particularly unnerved for another reason. It is eerily similar to a complaint filed against the same deputy just 3 months earlier, also in connection with a missing man in North Naples.
The connection was actually made quite quickly. It's a small agency, small enough to realize that something of this magnitude wouldn't go unnoticed.
25 miles down the road, in a poor migrant farming town called Immokalee, the case of a missing Mexican immigrant, 23-year-old Felipe Santos, has rocked the community. The last person known to have seen Felipe before he disappeared, just months earlier, was Deputy Steve Calkins. Things were looking up for Felipe Santos after 2 difficult years working as a migrant farmer.
He was able to find a job to work in construction, which meant that that was a more stable job. It was a little bit better paid.
With his girlfriend expecting their first child, this new prospect was good news for Felipe. The only problem was that the job happened to be 30 miles away.
More often than not, you have to get there on your own steam. Felipe and his brothers had acquired a car and were driving themselves to work in the morning.
As undocumented workers, neither Felipe nor his brothers was able to apply for driver's licenses or get insurance.
He was driving without a license, not because he wasn't trying to follow the laws, but because he was trying to support his family.
On the morning of October 14th, 2003, Felipe Santos said goodbye to his girlfriend and newborn baby girl.
Felipe and his brothers were going to work. They'd gotten all the way into Naples, and they were very close to the work site when they were in an accident.
Felipe got into the wrong turning lane in the left side, came back into traffic, making contact with the other car.
The two damaged vehicles pulled out of the busy intersection and into a shopping center. The other driver flagged down a police car. Deputy Steve Calkins emerged from the cruiser. Coming up, two men are caught driving without a license or insurance by the same responding deputy, and both men are missing.
How do you handle that type of situation? Do you turn a blind eye?
When the Collier County Sheriff's Office learns that 27-year-old Terrence Williams was last seen getting into the back of Deputy Steve Calkins' patrol car, the case of the missing young father intensifies. Police are concerned. It is the second time that Deputy Calkins was the last person confirmed to have contact with a missing person out of North Naples. 3 months earlier, he was the responding officer to a car crash involving Felipe Santos.
He made contact first with the citizen who explained a little bit of the crash, and from his account, Felipe Santos identified himself as the driver of the car.
When he found out that Felipe didn't have a driver's license, he put him immediately in the back of the patrol car.
Calkins described it as a very amicable situation where everyone was just cordial.
But a statement given to the police by the other driver tells a slightly different story.
She said that when Corporal Calkins arrived on scene, he seemed agitated and made a comment that he was tired of handling incidences with people without driver's license and without insurance.
According to witnesses, the deputy drove out of the parking lot with Felipe in the backseat of the cruiser. His family believed the officer arrested Felipe and that they would find him in the county jail.
They called the jail center a number of times during the day and actually went over to the jail that afternoon. And Felipe wasn't there.
Two weeks after the accident, with no word from the dedicated new father, the Santos family finally received a copy of Deputy Calkins' incident report, explaining why Felipe was not in lockup.
Calkins said that he decided not to take him to jail because he was polite, and that he was going to drop him off at the Circle K so that he could make a call, so he could get a ride.
According to the incident report, Deputy Calkins did not want Felipe to get back in his car, which is why he drove him only a half mile up the road to the Circle K gas station. But before letting Felipe go, Deputy Calkins issued him 3 tickets. The first, driving without a license, obliged Felipe to appear in court on November 13th, while the other 2 carried fines totaling $2,000. After seeing the citations and reading the deputy's report, the Santos family feels Deputy Calkins did not act appropriately.
They were finally able to file a missing persons report and also a complaint, because if he had been arrested, then he should have been in jail. He shouldn't have just disappeared.
Deputy Calkins is made aware that his handling of the accident will be investigated by Internal Affairs. In his 17 years with the Collier County Sheriff's Office, his record has been commendable. He has even been lauded a hero on several occasions while on patrol. Now, under tight scrutiny, Calkins is forthcoming and volunteers a taped interview. As far as the missing persons case goes, police have very little to go on.
Mr. Santos was of legal age, had every right in America to just not to be found.
But Felipe's failure to appear on the November 13th scheduled court date in accordance with the citation now does make him a fugitive. Could he be hiding from the police intentionally to escape prison or deportation? Although plausible, investigators do not believe this to be the case.
We didn't have any evidence of a crime, but there were certain red flags that the original investigators picked up on and kept the case alive. No family contact. He didn't pick up his paycheck.
The hunt for Felipe involves multiple agencies and crosses borders. and not a shred of evidence surfaces to indicate Felipe is alive and well. After nearly a 2-month administrative investigation, Deputy Calkins is exonerated of any wrongdoing regarding his actions following the traffic stop.
Would another police officer do what he did? I don't know, but what he did was correct and according to procedures at the time.
Then, just 72 hours after Felipe's family is sent a letter stating Deputy Calkins has been cleared of any wrongdoing, Terrence Williams goes missing. Is this a coincidence in the extreme, or something far worse? Nine days after Terrence Williams goes missing, the Collier County Sheriff's Office Crime Scene Unit processes his car. They are looking for any kind of evidence that would help them determine what happened to Terrence.
There was some trace evidence found in the car. However, it's crucial for the case that be kept confidential at this time.
2 days later, the Sheriff's Office holds a press conference asking the public for help in locating Terrence Williams. Tips start flooding in.
In the beginning of the investigation, there were several tips that came in, sightings of Terrence. One of the officers believed that he might have saw somebody that might have been Terrence by the Granada Shopping Center. But that was fully investigated, and it just didn't pan out.
On February 12th, 1 month after Terrence went missing, Internal Affairs asks Steve Calkins to come in for a taped interview. As part of the administrative investigation, Calkins signs a document stating nothing he says can be used as evidence in a criminal court. Feeling satisfied with his answers, investigators then issue Deputy Calkins a polygraph, and he passes. Coming up, the investigation takes a dramatic turn when police uncover a recorded dispatch call on the day Terrence went missing.
He lied. To me, that was more important than anything in that phone call.
It has been over 1 month since Terrence Williams went missing, and more than 4 months since Felipe Santos disappeared. There has been no sign of either man since the day they each vanished.
Terrence and Felipe goes together now, you know. The last person that we are aware of that saw them was the deputy.
The criminal investigations into both missing men share the same starting point, Deputy Calkins' patrol car, since that is where both men were last seen. Detectives orchestrate a covert forensic search of the car.
They were looking for any telltale signs of a violent struggle that might have been a sign of a cleanup in the car where blood could have spattered.
I was told that his car was searched and it was immaculate. That's the word that you use, very clean.
But investigators did not stop there. A GPS device is put on his vehicle to see where Calkins spends his time while on patrol. They are looking for secluded spots where he could have taken Terrence, if in fact a crime was committed.
They identified 12 areas at that time where they felt intensive searches needed to be done.
After 2 days of exhaustive searches, using aerial photography and several cadaver dog teams, investigators find no new evidence.
Unfortunately, it was just so much wasteland out there. It's a wooded area. You could do something in broad daylight and nobody would know.
Meanwhile, detectives delve into Terrence's background to see if he has any reason to disappear on his own.
Terrence, as a young man, did have some issues with the law up in Tennessee.
On January 14th, 2 days after the morning he went missing, Terrence was scheduled to appear in front of a judge in Chattanooga, involving back pay for child support.
He would have never ran from it. He didn't miss his court dates because he was trying to make everything right so that he could keep moving forward in his life.
When he failed to show up, a warrant was issued for his arrest. Now, police must question whether this warrant has anything to do with Terrence going missing.
Terrence did have full knowledge of the proceedings against him. Did he have reason to disappear for that? Yeah, but if he did, he's doing a masterful job.
Meanwhile, the internal affairs probe into Calkins' conduct the day Terrence went missing continues. After giving detectives his statement on February 12th, they must make sure the deputy's story checks out. They pull tapes of the calls the deputy made into dispatch that afternoon, and what they find is disconcerting. Just 4 minutes after finding out Terrence's tag was expired, Calkins contacts his friend in dispatch with a story that contradicts both his original statement and what the witnesses saw.
Signal 52, nobody around. All right. The tag comes back to nothing. It's a big old white piece of junk Cadillac. Like, all right, I told it. He told it, Davey. Give me the VIN number. Maybe he's out there in the cemetery. He'll come back in his car, I'll be gone. Yeah, really. Mr. No registration. Well, it was blocking the road about an inch off the road, you know.
Previously, Calkins said he followed Terrence into the cemetery parking lot because the man was having car trouble. Then, the deputy said he later moved the Cadillac to the side of the road so that it could be towed. Now, investigators hear Calkins joking with his friend about an abandoned Cadillac that needs towing, within an hour of allegedly driving Terrence to the Circle K. And while the inappropriate language is in itself a policy violation, it's the content of the call that sets off alarms.
He lied. He said the car was abandoned. He never mentioned to his friend this contact that he had with this individual. And to me, that was more important than anything in that phone call. It's just a big red flag.
Calkins later denies lying, saying that he was simply joking around with a coworker. He also states that he moved the car not to make it look abandoned, but to make things easier for the towing company. But there is more. Just over 20 minutes later, another baffling call came into dispatch. This time, Calkins requests a background check on Terrence. Up until now, investigators have been led to believe that Deputy Calkins' interaction with Terrence lasted no more than 5 minutes, and that he never knew the man's last name. Yet now, 23 minutes after he calls dispatch to have the car towed, he is able to run a background check using Terrence's full name and a fake birth date. It is a date only Terrence himself could have shared with Calkins.
That became a problem for the investigators. Where did he get the date of birth?
On March 30th, Steve Calkins is asked once again to come in for questioning by Internal Affairs. When asked about the discrepancies, the deputy admits he cannot account for them.
He thought he found paperwork in the car, but he was confronted that you already said there was no paperwork in the car.
The more Steve Calkins is interviewed by Internal Affairs, the more inconsistent he gets.
He was boxed in on a lot of questions, couldn't answer, and that's alarming.
Three months after Terrence went missing, police issued Deputy Calkins another polygraph. Unlike before, the questions now focus on what happened after Deputy Calkins had Terrence's car towed.
He was asked where to get the date of birth. Was Terrence with him? He failed that. He failed when he had any second contact with Terrence. He failed that. He was found to be totally deceptive.
The polygraph results beg the question: did Steve Calkins see Terrence again after allegedly dropping him off at the Circle K? And if so, why isn't he coming clean? Calkins insists his interaction with both Terrence and Felipe ended at the Circle K, and that he had nothing to do with either man going missing. It's the last time Stephen Calkins answers questions from law enforcement about what happened on January 11th.
The fact that he's no longer cooperating sits heavy with a lot of folks.
And if Calkins is hiding something, there is nothing more the police can do.
No probable cause ever came up to search his house. Love to have done it, but just no probable cause ever existed. Do we have issues with some of the things that he said and did? Yes. But motive, no.
On August 20th, the Internal Affairs investigation comes to a close. All complaints against Steve Calkins are sustained, and he is fired for non-compliance with rules and regulations, untruthfulness, and conduct unbecoming of an officer. 2 weeks later, Calkins appeals the decision.
He felt he was being picked on by the agency, that they were unfairly going after him for political reasons. He felt that the investigators kind of slumped off certain leads.
Calkins' appeal is denied. Although the Collier County Sheriff insists there is no hard evidence to suggest physical harm has come to either Felipe or Terrence, his decision to fire Calkins is firm. In a memo, the sheriff says he has lost trust in Calkins and his ability to recall incidents.
Collier County Sheriff's Office did exactly what they were supposed to do. FDLE, I'd like to think we did exactly what we were supposed to do. The unfortunate part is the circumstances around this case doesn't lead us to a resolution right now.
The Collier County Sheriff's Office has been deeply affected by this investigation.
It rocks us. But it also, too, is a way of solidifying this agency, that we turn around and we band together and say, no, this kind of behavior is unacceptable.
Yet to this day, Stephen Calkins believes he was wronged by the Collier County Sheriff and that he fell victim to coincidence. But Terrence's mother is not buying it.
He's gonna pay for what he did to my grandchildren. He's gonna pay for what I've been going through.
Coincidence or not, Stephen Calkins remains on investigators' radar.
We don't pick our persons of interest. The facts bring us to a person of interest. And every time you look at this case, the facts bring us back to Stephen Calkins.
Unfortunately, we still have a little bit of a mystery on our hands.
7 years have passed since Terrence Williams and Felipe Santos went missing from North Naples. But detectives from the Collier County Sheriff's Office say they never stray far from the case.
Anytime any unidentified person is found deceased in this county, or if I find other counties where we constantly exchange information, a follow-up is done.
Then in January of 2011, the skeletal remains of an unidentified male are found in a secluded area just under a mile from where Felipe was last seen.
When I read it, I'm like, it could be Felipe. And if it's Felipe, Terrence is close by.
For the family to have peace, they just want to have their questions answered. What happened that day? Where did he go? Why isn't he here?
Although a preliminary report rules out the body as Felipe's, investigators must wait for final confirmation through DNA testing. Meanwhile, Marcia Williams continues her unending quest to locate her only son.
I just want to know where my child is. I want to be able to take him home, and then I can begin to close that chapter. But I'll never in my life forget him. I'll never forget him. And he was my good friend.
Cardboard boxes by the door, coffee ring on the kitchen floor. Every room still says your name, but the frames are empty, walls the same. I lost a home, but kept the roof, 4 bare walls, and all this proof that home was never made of stone. It was you that turned this house to something I could call my own. Spare key hiding in the plan, your old sweater on the lamp, drawers you label left and right. Now they echo when I close them at night. I lost a home, but kept the roof, 4 bare walls, and all this proof that home was never made of stone. It was you that turned this house to something I could call my own. I walk the hallway, counting steps, like I could walk back into us. Doorway shadows, quiet shells. This place is full, I'm the one that's crushed. I lost a home, but kept the roof, 4 bare walls, and all this proof that home was never made of stone. It was you that turned this house to something I could